Hello, and welcome back to my channel, Men's with Mare. All right, so today we are going to get into the idea that addiction creates a family disease. One night when I was doing my sleep scrolling, I came across a friend of mine's Instagram story, and she commented about her deep sadness over the loss of the actor Michael K. Williams. He was famous for his role in The Wire. He had died from an apparent heroin overdose. So, along with her condolences, she gave a message of support to his loved ones who would be forever impacted by this tremendous loss due to the destruction of addiction. And I remember I sat up immediately. I was like, wait a second. Whoa, 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 whoa. She knows this pain. She is a loved one of an addict. It was in my bones. I was like, oh no, she knows this pain.
I know it.
Let me back up for a second. When I met her at this yoga retreat that she was co-leading. And when I met her, I was very mesmerized. She has these very deep chocolate eyes, and she's gentle but centered, just like oozing this confidence. It's in a very self-assured, like,
I know who I am
kind of way, a way that I really wanted to be. Side note, I remember that she conducted this meditation and her voice was so soothing and maternal. And I remember imagining she's some kind of creature that was sent here to soothe us all. She was, and she is, a goddess. So after this retreat that I went on, I kept in touch with her through Instagram. And we would message each other here and there, but I mainly admired her from afar, and I felt slightly envious of her life. She lived in this beautiful historic home, and she had this thriving yoga and doula practice, and she had this lovely family with a great supportive partner. Yet at the same time, she didn't post anything for show. She was vulnerable about her life and the challenges that she faced with motherhood and relationships, and she was just always encouraging honesty and authenticity in the virtual space around our personal lives, which I totally applauded. Like, so great. Like I've said in previous videos, a lot of times what we post on social media is pretty fake. So after I saw her Instagram post and what she wrote, and this knowing came up inside of me, like, oh my gosh, she knows what this feels like to love an addict. I messaged her, and it was soon confirmed, and I never expected how she responded. She said, I'm leaving my marriage because of it. 2+ years of addiction was more than enough damage for a lifetime. Al-Anon was a divine gift for my soul and sanity. I could not compute all of this. I was like, wait a second. I know her, and I respected her so much. Like, I had her up on a pedestal, and I'm like, if this can happen to her, I was like, there's no way. There's no way. She's too sacred. She's goddess. But she shared that she now runs an Al-Anon group, and she provided me with all of the information, and she recommended that I try 5 different meetings until I found like my vibe, like my type of people that I related to and liked. And I have to say, I was a little judgmental at first. I first of all didn't want to. I felt like that's their addiction, it's not mine. But I was so surprised to find people of all ages and genders, badass bosses to college-aged folks, some shy, some outgoing, some with BDE.
Which I deeply appreciated.
And they encouraged me to keep coming back and discuss the importance of having a community when you're going through this. It was awesome because it's not about the addict, it's about you, the loved one. You get the time, attention, and focus that the addict usually gets. You get to overcome this disease that permeated your life. Yes, you're a part of the disease. See, substance abuse, it is a disease that doesn't just affect the addict. And I will do a video on whether addiction is really a disease or not, or the different theories around it. So it affects everyone around them. And so it's labeled as a family disease. And that finally made sense to me why my friend was running a group. Because at first I wondered why. I was like, why do you want to be associated with anything around addiction if it just destroyed your world and it was so much? But I realized the truth is that she became sick, and I became sick too. When we were trying so hard to fix their disease for them, we fell into a sickness. So when the addict acts out, we react.
Explode.
We all have our reactions in response to the addict, but we often enter a pattern. It's a tug of war of control to regain the homeostasis that often happens subconsciously. Through Al Anon, you can learn to drop the rope, to decide not to participate in the tug of war, and it's okay to. It helps as a reminder to put the focus back on your own life. And most importantly, it lets us know that we have choices. Choices in how we react and choices in our lives. When you research the family disease of addiction, there's these roles, and I'm going to explain them and then talk a little shit about them. First of all is the addict. That is the focal point of everyone. The caretaker. This is the enabler. The person that hides the addict's problems. There's the hero. That's the person that tries to create order by being overly responsible and self-sufficient. We have the scapegoat. That's the person that acts out to divert attention away from the addict. There's the mascot. That's the person that uses humor or silliness to lessen the stress of the situation or lessen the stress of the addict's behavior. And then finally, we have the lost child. This is the quiet person that flies under the radar while everyone else focuses on playing their roles. But when I said I was going to talk shit about these roles, it's not because I think that the roles are wrong or they're not right. They definitely are. The thing is that no one just fills one particular role. These roles can overlap over time. I think that these roles can overlap and they can shift over time and that they're not locked in time. So I say this because sometimes I held more than one role simultaneously. So for example, in high school, I first joined my parents in the enabler role, which is the caretaker, but then I quickly shifted to the hero. I was mainly the hero, but then I weaved in and out of the mascot. I like to divert attention from my sister by being silly and trying to make my mom laugh, while at the same time I pushed myself to excel academically so that I could gain my father's attention and deflect from the situation. And these roles became so ingrained in me, and the disease spread throughout my being. Even when there were no addicts in my life for over 10 years, I never let go of that. It became me. And it's part of the reason why I felt so comfortable being with an addict later on in life too. So the reason why my friend continues to go to Al-Anon and why I continue is so we can recognize how we quickly and easily slip back into the roles since they're so ingrained in us. And we also know that we don't have to be alone in this journey. So I want you to think back over the roles that I listed and which ones do you identify with? Which ones did your family members fill or your friends fill? And then think about this. Did these roles evolve over time? Did they change at all? Have you released some of them? Are you enacting some of them again? And I'm a visual person, so sometimes I would do it like a Venn diagram. So I do the circles that would overlap, and I would think about in this month what roles overlap, what was I doing,
Why?
and there's no need to judge it. It's just to create awareness, because once we're aware, we're better. And how do you feel once you've acknowledged these roles? I remember being really sad for myself. I actually started to have a lot of compassion for my younger self that was this perfectionist overachiever, because it made me like really controlling about things and not fun to be around. I would get really irritated if things weren't the way that I wanted them because I felt like I need that control to be successful in life. I think I've let this go to some degree. I mean, my family would probably
disagree a little bit.
I have compassion for myself, which I want you all to have for yourself. And let me know, were there any roles that you can think of that weren't covered? I'm always thinking about this and expanding upon it, which I will share more later on. All right, I hope this video helped you in some way. And I'm sending you so many good vibes. It is really hard loving an addict, having to pay attention and become aware of what you need to do to change too, and how the addiction is permeated into so many different parts of our lives. Please be well, take care of yourselves, and I will see you very soon. Bye-bye.